this particular magazine that Detective Barberini was able to purchase on his own. I believe he referred to it as a Talco. I'm sure my co-counsel will correct me if I'm wrong. He bought that actual firearm, and you can see that, that actual magazine that was inserted to the magazine bed in this particular firearm, because again, it accepts 5.56 magazines. This is one of the standard AR-15 magazines. And you got to see the details of that magazine that holds actual ammunition. Now, you didn't see anything in the definition of a firearm that an actual firearm has to be loaded. So, make no doubt about it, whether this firearm was loaded for the music video or not has absolutely no bearing on your deliberations as a juror in this case. But the detail of this magazine and what's been admitted into evidence is State 16. Then we see the very, very fine features here in States 24. We do see the markings on the bolt indicating that there is a serial number there. That is proprietary to Zastava. That is what Zastava does with their AK-47 variants. We see the rivets and the shapes and the sight. That front sight is very distinct with the front sight block that he was able to show us. And then, obviously, just the build of the wood, that magazine well, distinguishing it as a Generation 2 of this particular model, that makes this a very interesting scenario for the defense to try to make an argument that there would have been a replica of this firearm. To replicate, so let's understand what this is. Okay, this is an AK-47 variant that has been made to chamber of 5.56. The chamber of 5.56 of a magazine that's not proprietary to it. What does that mean to you? That means that if he were to make an actual replica of this firearm, that he's including features of an AK-47 variant that make no sense to replicate. This aftermarket magazine, the magazine well and all of the rivets, these are very detailed features, but of an AK variant that takes a 5.56 instead of an AK-47 itself. If you were going to pay thousands of dollars to replicate an AK-47 variant, you're not going to replicate the AK-47 variant with the 5.56 magazine, the generation that essentially fires your standard ammunition for an M16. You're going to go all out, I submit to you, in an AK-47 variant, not some one that's been converted so that you can use standard magazines. That would make no sense. The detail here is absolutely incredible. And you heard Barberini testify and how confident that he is. And that oftentimes, I believe his percentage was in the 90s, he will tell law enforcement agencies and district attorney agencies, well, that could be a firearm, but I'm not going to say it is. Here, he was absolutely confident that this is a real firearm and meets the definition of Florida statutes. And it's because not only of the quality of the video, it's because of this specific type of firearm. Now, the state must prove that the crime was committed on or between February 3rd, 2018 and March 28, 2018. In giving you a range, we made sure to fall well within when we have proven this video to have been filmed, and therefore, when he was actually in possession of this Zastava M85. So let me break this down for you. Now, Her Honor already advised you that what the attorneys say is not evidence. What I have done, and you double-check me, I have made sure to try to simplify the messages that we have admitted into evidence between the film producer, Montana Shotya, and _Rufus Mookey, the star of Murder 1, not Little Mookey. Never in this evidence, in the state attorney's evidence of testimony or the videos, do we ever hear him referred to as Little Mookey, but Y&R Mookey or Ruthless Mookey. These are the communications that he's having with the videographer. The videographer admitted as such that yes, he filmed Murder 1, and this was the only time that he went to Potomac Avenue. And these messages make it clear when it happened. So what I did is I broke them down for you in the most important. With the dates. February 3rd, 2018. Montana Shotya says, where are you trying to shoot? Underscore Ruthless Mookey indicates 5233 Potomac Avenue. February 3rd, 2018, Montana Shotya confirms, I am here. You recall his testimony and him saying that this was the first time and only time that he was at this location. That he went to the location to shoot this particular video. Because Ruthless Mookey on 2/3/2018 is going to say okay, but you're going to see that as we go further down in the day, Montana Shotya is asking him, where are you at? Ruthless Mookey says, I'm on the way, I'm coming across the bridge. But eventually, Montana Shotya on February 3rd, 2018 is going to say, we're going to have to reschedule. I've been waiting too long. Ruthless Mookey asks, when are you trying to reschedule? I'm on the next slide now. So on February 5th, and I do see an error and I apologize. So on this slide, that green message should read February 5th. Underscore Ruthless Mookey on February 5th says, tomorrow, question mark. Montana Shotya says, what time is good for you? Again, that's February 5th. Underscore Ruthless Mookey says 12 or 1, and then asks, are you ready? On February 6th. Montana Shotya on February 6th asks, yeah, can you send me the address? Underscore Ruthless Mookey says it's a safe. Excuse me, quote unquote, safe. Same day, Montana Shotya says, I'm here. Look through the messages, and you will also find, ladies and gentlemen, that underscore Ruthless Mookey confirms that he is there as well. Most importantly, the end of our date range, underscore Ruthless Mookey is asking Montana Shotya, the video producer, to send him an email of Murder 1 again. We know by that time that Murder 1 had been filmed. We know that a couple of days later, and do the math, how many days are in March, that by April 3rd of 2018, the video is uploaded onto YouTube. Further finding. Now, we've talked about how there are 3 components to the one charge. You are only going to consider the further finding if you believe him to have been in possession of a firearm, because, of course, the other 2 elements were stipulated to. If you believe the defendant was in possession of a firearm, and only if, are you to consider whether or not he was in possession in furtherance of a criminal enterprise, a criminal gang. So, what is that further finding? It allows you to consider 3 separate things, and that is the following. When Tyler Jackson decided to become in possession of the Zastava M85, was he doing it to either benefit, promote, or further the interests of the criminal gang? It could be either, it's an or. Benefit, promote, or further. To aid you in your understanding of whether or not this further finding is, in fact, something that you should consider, the jury instructions define a criminal gang for you. And the most important part of that definition is that this group of individuals, one of their primary activities has got to be to commit crime. Because it just does not matter if that's not the case. We should not find an individual acting in furtherance of a criminal gang if we do not believe that that group of individuals, one of their primary activities is to commit crime. I'm going to put the crime into perspective for you, but you need to make sure that you consider that as a juror. This is me breaking down the definition of a criminal gang, formal or informal. Absolutely no requirement that there be a specific hierarchy or any kind of, oftentimes we consider it in movies, organized type crime. Because a lot of times when we think of a criminal gang, we might think of something more like a mafia, a cartel, or even like these national sects of criminal gangs where we're familiar with how they divvy up duties. In this particular gang, you have heard enough testimony to understand that there's more than one. This is a local criminal street gang. This is made up of individuals who are always vying to have a esteemed position in the gang. And I think that you can see that through the evidence in this case. But we're going to show it to you even closer. One of its primary activities is the commission of criminal or delinquent acts. This does not require that the actual activity, the criminal activity, is being committed by Tyler Jackson, but that he's acting in furtherance of a gang, and the gang itself, one of its primary activities is to commit crime. But you will see that there is activity that he's engaged in with members. Do they have common name, common identifying colors? Are they distinguishing themselves from other groups? And so here's how the further finding will read. Now, let's talk about why Tyler Jackson was acting in furtherance of a criminal gang. And quite frankly, this video would not be in existence if he wasn't. This was an advertisement about this new criminal enterprise. So here's a slide about how it began. This is 2017. You heard Detective Barry testify that that particular photo here, that he knew it was taken in July of 2017, and that members had referred to that photo as the beginning, when Y&R first started. Now, you'll see what I submit to you would be the most prominent members really founding. This is a poster the state of Florida has admitted into evidence. These are 10 members of Young and Ruthless who have been documented. Now, understand this. If you were to watch Murder One alone and you knew the definition of a criminal gang member, and that is that they meet 2 or more criteria under the statute, you would be able to determine, I submit to you, that the individuals in the video of Murder One could be documented as members. But you will not see all of them here because you've heard testimony from the gang detectives that it's not just seeing 2 criteria. That individuals are documented as members after they are investigated. And that oftentimes, the 2 criteria itself are put into reports, but they're not actually put into reports until it's been confirmed in more than that. More than just one video where they're with members wearing clothing. You have seen most of these members in much of the state's social media. Now, from left to right, Nehemiah Harden, Tyler Simmons, Joseph Carter, Tyler Jackson. We're going to go through the beginnings of 2017 so that you understand the foundation that has been laid by the time this music video is filmed in February. So, we start with an older photo that became a part of the Instagram account, but we can tell that this is one of the younger photographs, although it was sent to the account in a private message in 2020. Here we have left to right Tyler Simmons, Joseph Carter, Tyler Jackson, and Jamari Johnson. Jamari Johnson is holding up a sign that we've seen a video of, and we're going to see it again, that they hold up when they say Y&R. And this has become a sign that other members, I submit to you, of other gangs would not be able to sign unless they were holding it down